And we've got all the right in the world on our side. And there ain't no reason to be afraid. And there ain't no reason to not take the challenge dead on. Because I'm going to tell you who we come from, folks. We don't come from some weak, jellyback, spineless people. That's not who we come from. None of us. And it doesn't matter what color you are, what nation your folks hail from, how much money you got. We all share the same name. We are Americans. And at Bunker Hill, there was Americans. And at Fredericksburg and Gettysburg, there was Americans. And at Iwo Jima, raising that flag on Suribachi, it was Americans. And at Pork Chop Hill, there was Americans. Quezon, there was Americans. And on 9/11, there was Americans who ran towards those burning buildings. That is who you share your heritage with. You do not share your heritage with a weak and ineffective people who cower at the sight of trouble. You share your heritage with a strong and brave people who are determined to hold on to their freedom and for the freedom of future generations. Guys, it's time for us to stand up and be that generation. It's time for us to stand strong and proud and remember who we are. That we are Americans. And as long as we stand as the vanguard of freedom in this nation, freedom will survive you. Not only survive, it will thrive. So guys, it's time to put on our packs. It's time to fix those bayonets. It's time to get ready. We got a fight on our hands. And our fight is not for us, for all those generations that's going to come behind us. Let's save America, folks.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hey, folks, welcome to the program. Are we going to talk about some wild crap today? You know, you've been hearing it for, well, a while now, that 30 white hats saved the 2024 election. Really? I have questions. I'm telling you, there's a good chance this program will knock your socks off. And I have a deliberate cliffhanger at the end to show you how it all works. So, would you do me a favor, please? Will you please raise your finger and share this program, right? Share this program. If you have followed along since the 2020 election and you want to make sure we get our elections fixed, you're going to want to make sure that your friends and family watch this program to understand, let me fix something, to understand what's going on, right? So please share it. Today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. The reason we partnered with them is because this is the leading company, folks. And I'm telling you, just as I've always told you, I've always given you a heads up. You have years track record with me. I'm the only one way back in 2020 telling you, do not go to January 6th in DC. I keep telling you, I've told you, you can measure me by what I say. And I'm telling you again, now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Request your free gold and silver kit today. This is why we partnered with Goldco. I'm a customer as well. If you have a 401k or an IRA or a retirement savings account, you're going to need to make sure you at least have taken into consideration how do you protect that? Because right now, if you wanted to pull something out, they're going to ding you, sometimes up to 50%. Would you please go to JoeVonLovesGold.com? You're just going to request your free gold and silver kit today and feed your mind. That's it. Feed your mind. And then gain the confidence you need to begin to protect your money with gold and silver. And by the way, you might get up to $10,000 in free silver, depending upon the type of account you open. And if you're stressing, like many of us do, I admit it. There's times I stress. Doing this work makes me want to overeat, makes me want to drink alcohol, makes me just want to lay in bed sometimes and sleep, makes me want to hump like a rabbit, all the things I do to medicate stress. I medicate differently. I medicate with CBD because it helps. It works. It's measurable. We've got this program going on even longer. You know, there's nights you don't sleep, right? You just don't sleep. Toss and turn. Next day, you're dragging, you're exhausted. Everything just feels harder to do. That's where CBD from CB Distillery can make a real difference. But it's not about sleep only. CBD is available from CB Distillery in different solutions. You know, work with your body to help stress, pain after exercise, mood and focus, even your pets. And it's all made with the highest quality clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. So imagine waking up rested, enjoying your day without those nagging aches and pains. That's the real win of CB Distillery's solutions. That's why over 2 million people trust CB Distillery. I love, for me, personally, for my family, it's the relief stick. This stuff, I'm telling you, is the bomb. But you get it while you can because it disappears so fast, especially when I talk about it. It's truly magical. I got a code for you. You can zap the screen. So if you'd like better sleep and you're ready for it, you've earned it. Less stress, feeling good in your own skin again, try CBD from CB Distillery. And right now you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery. Use promo code Jovan. That's cbdistillery.com. Promo code Jovan. cbdistillery.com. Ask the people in chat. They'll tell you. They use it. And it works. And it's nice to have things that you can use that work. Okay. This is going to be a geeky discussion, but I'm going to do it in a way where I'm going to tremendously limit the geek so you understand what's going on. Anybody out there within the range of my voice, if you believe I am wrong in what I'm presenting, and you're in tech, not because you read it from somebody who read it from somebody who read it on Reddit, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. If you've got your tech chops, right? If you've got your tech chops, I will invite you at the end of the program to come on and tell me where I'm wrong, okay? Next, you see this code right up here? All that matters is physical evidence. It's physical evidence that shuts the loopholes, catches the criminals, and gets prosecutions. Right up there. Scan it. Support the real evidence. We'll talk about that later on as well. But I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a very compelling program. I'm doing this because I just want to let you know. Remember this one thing, why I talk about these things continually. We were led to believe Obama was the rock star. He got 69 million popular votes in his first run. His second term netted him 65 million popular votes. Then you had, Hillary run against Trump. She got 65 million votes, and she was supposed to be the megastar too. Then we got the Biden FU. You see the finger up there, right? Just kind of sticks out of nowhere. Of course, we know what happened then. And then we get Kamala. Now, on face value, they want to believe that Kamala was neck and neck with Hillary and Obama. But that's what you're looking at is the end of the election night in 2024. Of course, Trump won. Or did he? See, we lost a lot of things. We lost House seats. Nobody talks about that. We lost Senate seats. Nobody's talking about that, right? All over the place. But if you look at Kamala right now, you can go do it yourself. Look it up. Look for the election numbers for 2024. 24. And they just keep on edging them up, edging them up, edging them up. And she's almost at 75 million. That's how they're backwashing the 81 to close that gap, because they're going to need it. They're going to use it in the midterms. And that's why I'm going to cover this topic, which is going to rock your world. 30 white hats save the election. I say, really? I have questions. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an extended time to get this shared. Okay? Get this shared, because I'm going to rock your world. So here's a few minutes to do it. We'll get started.
Do you have your copy yet of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's bestseller Countdown to Chaos, The Silent Federalizing of Elections? November 3rd, 2020, something happened for the first time in history, and as a result, America became something many of us no longer recognize. But first, this book will make you mad, then sad, and then you are most likely to become pissed off. Anger is good, and feelings are good, if you know how to channel those feelings. This book will help you do that, but do not open this book if you can't handle the truth. If you just want to take the blue pill and stay in the matrix, that is your choice. The book is carefully researched and presented in chronological order. You will be taken on a journey back in time to see how the system and machine was devised, developed, manufactured, and deployed. Once you see it, your eyes will be forever open, and you will never be the same person again. You have been warned. Let's continue. On November 3rd, 2020, the world, your world, changed. The official counting of votes for our general election, specifically the votes being counted for president, was stopped at approximately 10:30 p.m. Red flags went up everywhere. Over the next few days, American voters sensed something was horribly wrong. The events of the month of November 2020 forever changed American history, American media, and social media, all, and were forever harmed, as was American voters' trust and confidence in our elections. As time passed, Joe Biden was sworn in, and America had descended into deep chaos. This book is a deep research dive into the who, what, when, where, why, and how of some critical questions such as, was this chaos intended or manufactured? What happened in the election when there was such a clear, bold movement for Donald J. Trump? How could someone like Joe Biden, who really did not campaign at all, and when he did there were only a handful of supporters present, ever win the election to become President of the United States of America? One side cried out, the election was rigged, and the other side shouted out, you're poor losers, or there is no such thing as election fraud. Americans became split even further and deeper at a time when we were already split more than ever before in modern times. To determine if there could ever be nefarious activities within American elections, we need to find solid, factual answers to questions which can no longer remain unanswered. Is there even any way to know the outcome of an election before the results are called? In fact, this question needs to be both asked and answered, because if anyone or any country was going to materially change the outcome of an American election, they would have to have some form of reasonable advance knowledge of how the election was going at any one time. Is there even the remote possibility that bad actors could peek into our elections as they were in process? For the moment, let's say there was a way to see the pre-data of our elections across the United States. Is there even a way for our voting systems and machines to be compromised? Could votes even be changed after they were cast? Could votes be inserted into our machines? Even if a bad actor wanted to undermine the American elections, how could they ever do it? Would we ever be able to detect such egregious and nefarious violations of the American voting systems? Wouldn't it take thousands of criminals to pull something like that off? How could it even be done when the media tells us there is no such things as election fraud? Why, if so many people and professionals have looked, has no hard evidence ever come to light? You need facts, You'll need answers. Find those answers in Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's bestseller, Countdown to Chaos, The Silent Federalizing of Elections.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, guys, I'm going to give your mind a workout. And I know that you, the great competitor in you, you want to understand how things work. By the way, shout out Instagram followers, Sprightly Shelley. Hey, by the way, if you see my Instagram, see Sprightly Shelley, you want to see a competitor, you want to see somebody willing to bust their butt to get results. And that's what we've all done, folks. We have all busted our butt to try to get answers about what happened in the 2020 election, because if we don't fix the 2020 election, we're not going to get anywhere if we don't fix what happened. Okay. I'm going to ask you, please hang tight on the facts I give you till we get to the end. Okay? Now, a few other things. You may want to write this down. You can write it in your own terminology, but this is a lesson in critical linear thinking. Critical linear thinking. Now, where does this come from? You probably saw all over the place being touted from the rooftops, everything else is about the truth of the matter. 30 people saved America by stopping the steal of the 2024 election. And yes, I will tell you the whole story. Everybody's still waiting for that story. It's not here, hasn't come out. It's kind of morphed over the time. It's been 30 white hats save you, 30 hackers save you, to 30 people saved you. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to leave your emotions at the door. I don't care if you drool over Emerald. Many people do. Not a problem with that. I agree with you. We're just going to look at facts. Now, people are pushing back on Emerald because they say, absolutely, tell us the rest of the story. Because she says, I'm going to show you the rest of the whole story. So people are pushing back, say 30 people saved the 24 election. She promises to reveal those 30 people soon. Why not now? Lindell said he had the PCAPs and never released those either. Remember, Emerald is Mike's head broadcaster. And this is only so you understand dialogue. We were told Dennis Montgomery can't reveal PCAPs because they're tied up in court in Nevada. The only court case in Nevada with Dennis Montgomery is from 2007. So there's a disconnect. Who in the hell are these people? Why are they trying to keep us running down rabbit holes when they are getting the gold line, getting to the gold line? When they see getting to the gold line is exposing the truth. It's interesting. People are now asking. It's been going on for so long, and you see people doing interviews, and now you see people of name. And when I say name, people you recognize, people you respect, amplifying this story. And people are going, wait, in the spirit of this post, come on, where's the next installment? Who are those heroes that saved the 2024 presidential election? Who are they? And by the way, we lost 12 House seats and 4 Senate seats to the down ballot, which begs the question, if white hats saved the 2024 election for Trump, why'd they forget about the down ballot? Which leads me to why I always show you these numbers. What's creeping up behind the lines is because they're going to take it. Now, so we're gonna ramrod through this, and I'm going to give you some facts. These are only absolute facts, period. There's nothing in opinion I'm going to give you. Once you have the facts, you get to use your own discernment. In your life, you might decide things by facts. In your life, you might decide things by who's the prettiest, who's the ugliest, who you like the most, who's a Christian, who's a Jew, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're just going to get a chance to have discernment. Let's cover some basic facts. Now, we're going to start with the premise that 30 white hats, and by the way, you've heard me talk about this before. You've never heard me teach about this before. And you're about to get a very fast PhD in this that you'll actually understand. So let's say that 30 white hats, 30 hackers, 30 great, wonderful people, 30 pillow salesmen, 30 llamas, doesn't matter what you put in there. Supposedly 30 people saved us. Okay? And they saved the 2020 election. Now, in basic telemetry, you deal with it in your life. Okay? You deal with this in your life. When you're going from one destination to another. When you make a decision, you're going to get in your car or truck or whatever, or head somewhere. You have an idea of your mind of where you need to go. You have a destination fixed. And whether you drive it from memory or GPS, you have a destination in mind. The reverse is true when you're ready to go home. You have your destination fixed. So at the basis of all of this, okay, if it operates in the digital realm, internet, cloud, etc., okay, there are pretty standard touch points. Okay. Just like I gave you your destination in your vehicle. You're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to come back home. What are the touch points in it? Your home, you, the store, the results of what you did at the store, your grocery list, your vehicle, and your travel route. Those are all kind of touch points. Well, it's no different on the internet. There are touch points. Some of you all the time, might use your GPS. It's a good habit to do in case you have an accident. People know where you came from, whatever, if something happens, it'll be right there on your GPS. Now, before I give you this point, I want to remind you where we've been when it comes to the 2020 election. The first thing was infiltrated an Antifa call, and the big cheese of the voting company said, don't worry, we've taken care of Trump. He's not going to win. Bing, that was one. And then we had all this other stuff. We got the PCAPs. We got this. We showed them all. Here it is. And that didn't pan out. Now we got this Smartmatic whistleblower in Venezuela. So here are the touch points. I just want you to understand the container bins for them. Somewhere, somehow, there is going to be a software footprint. Somewhere, somehow, there is going to be a server footprint. And there is always going to be the destinations, plural, footprint. Now, if you're, quote unquote, a white hat hacker, and you are monitoring systems, right, to understand what happened, Well, your footprint is your own server you're using, your own whatever you're using, and your software, your telemetry that you're using. Okay. Now, I want you to understand is if in fact you were a white hat hacker, okay, you don't 100% have to have advanced knowledge of something, meaning you know all the exacts. You just have to kind of understand, well, its signatures, its footprints. And in the white hat world, you're going to be looking for software footprints. You're going to be looking for hardware footprints. I'll get a little more geeky in a moment. And you're going to be looking for destination footprints. Okay? Now, you're right. These are footprints out there that hackers can see. You don't generally see it. And maybe they're all in a super secret group or whatever. But we're going to talk about how does all this come into play. Now, I'm going to relate it to your world right now in real time, and something that happens behind the scenes with you every single day. And it doesn't matter if it's your mobile device, your desktop, your laptop, or whatever. The best analogy to understand ferreting out something is to understand how your own software protection, your antivirus software, works on your own computer. Okay? Now, I want you to think about this. How does your computer or phone know what's bad and who is it coming from? Well, if you look at the antivirus software, and this is only a layman's discussion, right? Only a layman's discussion. And I know there's going to be people out there that are going to be, well, you're not talking about, DNS inspection and strict outbound rules. And I'm going to just give me a minute to bring people that don't live in this world up. So what happens is, in the case of your phone or in the case of your computer, which we're going to call a white hat. It's a white hat. It's there to protect you, right? Might be virtual, but it's still a white hat. So basically what happens is the known universe is basically put down into a database or directory. All of the crap that happens on a computer, all of the stuff that breaks on your computer, all of the stuff that infects your computer, between all of the service companies, all of the software companies, even like when you say, do you want to submit this report? And Windows pops up and says, we're going to submit this report. That's how they track everything. It's how they basically create the rules set. It's the definitions, right? So now when you get these definitions and somebody comes out with a new worm or a new hack or new Trojan, whatever, in order for that software to even detect it, it has to have a definition for it. Okay? So, give you an example. New viruses are created every day. And what happened is as these come into systems, your antivirus only looks for known viruses. It has to know it. Okay? It has to know it. Only when it gets discovered is it blockable. If it's not known, it's the unknown one that slips through and actually gets to your home computer. And so this is how I want you to understand just the relative world of computing and data and whatever. There's a particular amount known, and it is when it's known, something can be done about it. So the whole industry revolves around when it's known. And so when it finds that new virus and it's known, then it can do something about it. It's the goal of everything. When we know how they steal elections, then we can do something about it. Now I'm going to take you through the rules, because there are, of white hats. I'm gonna do it slowly, okay? And I want you to literally follow along and understand, always keeping in mind, it doesn't matter where it occurs, whether it's software or a server or on a cloud. Without a doubt, in everything, no matter how much they try to hide it, you always have a software footprint, a server footprint, and a destination footprint. Okay, let's go. This is how it starts. Now, the very first thing that a white hat does, and remember, we're only covering, oh my God, 30 people saved America's election and stopped the steal. White hat saved the election. Well, let's go through that process. Now, the very first step begins with detection. And so what they look for is called unusual outbound flows to foreign IPs. What's a foreign IP? You know, it's an IP, your internet address. If you were to look up basically at any website and look under the name, you find an IP address, okay? So what white hats are doing is they are looking for an unusual outbound flow of foreign IPs or ASNs, you know, unknown cloud buckets, you know, where stuff's stored. And they're looking for very large, usually nighttime uploads or DNS, that's a domain name server anomalies, or tunneling in, how to get in, right? So you're looking for a heck load of new admin logins from odd geographies. You're looking for gaps, or you're looking for deletion and logging. Now, I will explain this in terms of Maricopa County, Arizona. In the forensic audit, going through all the details, on the data side, we found 30,000 logins that were basically anonymous, meaning we really couldn't tell who they were. Okay, so we saw those anonymous logins. Now, the way you get the telemetry, okay, is just like President Trump said, we need the routers. But I want you to remind you, we never got the routers or the Splunk logs, and the additional investigators brought in said, well, there weren't any. That was a lie. So right now, we've got a detection event. You already know it happens in elections. Now, what a white hat does is a white hat remotely detects for these things. They're lurking, kind of like lurking in chat, kind of like you guys that watch OnlyFans and play like it's a sports site and you just kind of sit there and make sure you don't do any work. Do you know what I'm saying? It's lurking. And so in detection, what they're doing is they're analyzing what's called NetFlow, PCAP. You've heard that before. We'll talk about it in a minute. PCAP, DNS, and the EDR telemetry. That elections IT, the election IT shares with participating ISPs or partners. Then what they run is called DNS entropy and NetFlow queries to find exfil patterns. Let's just call it about brute force, sending through encrypted stuff, trying to happen, okay? So you're looking for the patterns first. Remember, I told you there's something there. So on the opposite end, there's a software that's doing this function with a computer or a server, and it's blunt force traumaing a server. And so that's where you get this thing that, okay, you're using DNS, you're tunneling, you're looking at the NetFlow detection. These are what's called exfil techniques to watch for. So this is how the whole industry runs. Now, if you understand that point and you understand it as it relates to there's always a footprint, I want you just to make a little tick mark, you know, like you do playing Yahtzee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to look at this slide and I want you to kind of make a tick mark of where you think you actually get something you can document. Well, here you're going to get DNS, or you're going to get a timestamp with weird patterns. You're going to find all of a sudden it stopped for a while, ramped up for a while. You're going to basically look at foreign everything. You follow what I'm saying? You're going to continue just making these tick marks. And in this one, there's actually just a little less than 10 tick marks. Now let's move on to the next one. Once you've done detection, you have detected something as a white hat hacker. The good guys. Basically, what comes next is called immediate escalation. Okay, these are the steps. I'm giving you the steps. I'm giving you a class on it, right? And where I've already got the thumbs down, it's already the people that don't want me to share this information with you. Okay, here is the next step that's called immediate escalation. Now, what happens is these teams that are remote, okay, they basically start bundling this information. The White Hat will bundle up this information, okay? And they're basically taking snapshots from the IPs, the domains, sample PCAPs, the timestamps, the affected host names and process names, blah, 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 blah. That's what a White Hat does, okay? Then what happens is they immediately, if you are a white hat, which is the whole story about, hey, it saved the elections, all these white hackers saved the elections, okay? What they do is they immediately take that information. The next step of protocol is called immediate escalation. That's where, depending upon the county or the state and whatever the reporting chains are, you take that data. Remember, we're talking about a white hacker and what a white hat hacker does. Not a white hacker. It could be brown, could be pink, could be purple, doesn't matter, but white hats. Now, there are rules around this. Okay? Totally rules around this. And so what you're doing is, this is the most critical step that happens when you're doing anything to what? Protect an election. Keyword, save the election. The truth of the matter, about 30 people saved America by stopping the steal of the 2024 election. That's what we're dealing with. Supposedly there's 30 people that did it. So the first part I gave you is, okay, they have this information and now they escalate it. This step is critical. You have to let the election officials in all the states, wherever it is, know something's going on, which leads to this step. Okay? See, you've got a footprint. You know kind of where to look. It doesn't require it. I want you to understand. It doesn't require that you know exactly where it comes from. You don't have to have that. You don't have to know in advance exactly when an attack will come or where it will go. You just don't know that. But what you're doing is you're kind of looking for likely origins or likely destinations or various IP range or various cloud providers or domains or countries or exfil channels. You're looking for the typical bad actors and you're kind of watching it during that time period. And what you want to do, and by the way, advanced knowledge helps. And so when you're doing elections, by default, you get advanced knowledge because you know what day it's supposedly going to occur. You get it? And so what you do is it's all about fast containment. If you know there is suspicious destinations or domains, you can work with, quote unquote, the security providers to block those domains immediately. That means if it's coming from doggyporn.russia.james, and you know that, you're immediately triaging and let everybody know it's coming from this place. Let's just block this right now and get it shut down. That's how they stop it. AI can handle some of these as well. Now, what happens is When that starts, it kind of begins a process which is called prioritized hunting. You're going to start narrowing it down. So you understand, where do we look in the logs for this stuff? Meaning who hosted it, which time window did it occur, and which protocols. If you can do this, then what you get, and this is how all white hacking works, the whole goal is to get this information so you can do better prevention. Because if you can do better prevention, you can pre-block known malicious cloud buckets. You can enforce allow list, and you can create additional firewall rules. That's how every bit of this works. You got it? Okay. So over here, in the first step, wow, we see something. The second step is you're going to get the appropriate people involved. Now, this is a do not mess with step. Do not mess with step. And you better believe, not only am I watching you in chat, but you better be wearing your chat stick, because there's going to be a test at the end of this, and you might be licking your lips and they might be coming dry. Anyway, okay. You've got to preserve the evidence. Everything is about this. You've got to preserve the evidence. What use is a white hacker if the white hacker can't prove something went wrong? A black hat, a bad hacker, gets no credit if nobody knows about it and they can't prove they did it. Okay. So if you're a white hat and you've detected it and you're following protocol, then basically what happens is, okay, you are required to preserve the evidence. Now, here's how this works. You basically work to identify the suspect machines. You're working with various staff that might be all over places, and that could be anything from sound files to preserving the logs, to moving stuff over. You might even move stuff so nobody can get in if all of a sudden it was online and you didn't know it. But you have to keep a chain of custody procedure in this if you are a white hat hacker who has saved the election. Period. You got to keep it. And so it's that chain of custody, okay, that shows you followed the procedures, and it is solely what makes the evidence admissible in court. You've probably heard that before. You've got to have the physical evidence in this process. You've got to show a proper chain of custody from the beginning to end of everything I've showed you. So in those set procedures for white hats doing this stuff, so you can keep evidence admissible. This is why white hackers are used all over the place. White hackers. Don't know why that's sticking with me, but anyway. Now, the reason you have to show it in this process, can you take a guess as to why you have to show it in this process? Put it in chat. I just want to know at this point, if we had 30 white hat hackers specifically that saved the election, why must you follow these procedures? Put it in chat. Tell me why you must follow these procedures. Well, no proof, no conviction. That's true. But that's third on the list. 2 on the list is you've got to preserve the prosecutable evidence. That's second on the list. What is the number one thing on the list that this established procedure for being a white hat must be followed to the T? Not prosecution, not Dahlberg. I already gave you those. I admitted in court. Yes, I gave you. But the number one reason, there's a reason that trumps all of those. Not chain of custody, right? Not to get a conviction, not to cross-check it, not to verify it, not even to make it repeatable. This is where we're getting into the cyber war. You know, you understand the Dahlberg principle. You're like bang on. But this one has one additional standard required by both domestic and international law. What is that standard? Not the judge must be able to see. It's going to blow your mind when I tell you, right? Because you already know it's got to be repeatable. It's got to be relatable. It's got to be reliable. It's got to be testable. You know it. You ready for this? If you don't follow these steps, you, the white hat, are the offending criminal. Bet you didn't see that one coming. If you do not follow these steps, remember the whole reason I'm doing this is taking off. It's been around for a while. It's getting more momentum. They keep on promising the story. It's Emerald. We never got the PCAPs. We never got any of that stuff. People are saying, okay, come on. Ready? If you are doing this, even for the protection of your nation, if you are a white hat that undertakes this, remember, we were told 30 people saved our election in 2024. If you do not have even what I just told you and showed you, you are a criminal, culpable, and you have now placed yourself in the line of conviction, and you can be prosecuted. Now, why do I tell you this? Why do I tell you this? And I'm not done yet. Hang with me. Number one, people told you that they saved the election. White hackers saved the election. Now, let's run this out. They haven't told us who the white hatters are, and they've never shown any evidence. Now, let's say what they claim is the only reason President Trump's in is because 30 people saved the election to stop the steal. Now, we haven't seen anything. Put a pin in that for a moment. If, in fact, 30 people made sure Trump won in 2024, who would be pissed off? Put it in chat. If 30 people absolutely made sure President Trump won the election, and thwarted the deep state, the Dems, and the booby holes. Well, a booby in your hole's not a bad thing, but you know what I mean. Who would be upset? Put it in chat. Who would be upset? The left. The deep state. The Dems. Well, let me ask you a question. Where are the lawsuits from the opposite side in this admission? We had people in and stopped it. What is that? Where is the attacks, the lawsuits? Because now this is prosecutable. We now know the person who knows who is not telling us. We know many persons who know that aren't telling us. but they know it happened. They swore it happened. They're doing all kinds of media, but we'll tell you later, but we're going to tell you, I'm going to show you, going to reveal it all. Every state's going to come in. Every state's going to come in and sit down. I'm going to show you every vote that was changed. I'm going to show you how to work. We got it all. Crickets. But crickets. Again, the premise is 30 people saved our election. Now, this means they detected it, they did the escalation, they preserved the evidence, and the next step in this line is called control and containment. Control and containment. These are the rules. There are rules. These are the rules. Control and containment. So basically what happens in control and containment, okay, is you now have what's called perimeter teams. Now we're discussing this as if it's happening in real time, okay? So what happens is perimeter teams that are working on this, they basically block the identified destination. That means the IP address or the domains. And they isolate where it's coming from and where it's being attacked. So they isolate hosts and subnets. Now, if in fact there is a tabulation system involved. Now, remember, they said they stopped the switching of the votes. If there is a tabulation system involved that happened to be online and somehow was compromised, those tabulators are taken offline and made sure they're disconnected from the internet. Now, remember, that goes hand in hand where they were swapping votes. It works two ways. If it comes in and takes the Donald Trump vote and puts in the Daffy Duck vote, you know that tabulator has been compromised. What do? You got to reverse it back out. You got to take out the illegal vote and put President Trump back. Now you understand why you got to have these documents, because what you're doing is you're stopping it. In order to stop something, it basically presupposes it's actually happened. And so what happens is in this, all the containment actions must be coordinated legally and logged. Must be coordinated legally and logged. Now, why is that an issue? You got to do it legally and it's got to be logged. Oh, by the way, this is where the Daubert principle, which I have taught you, comes into play. It all has to be legal. It cannot be obtained illegally, and you expect you're going to use it in court. Now, once that's done, you go to the next part of the process, which is required. Once this is done, 30 white hat, wonderful, superstar, extra fluffy, super foam stuffed pillow hats save the election. The next phase you move to, or if they've done this, is that data now goes to forensic teams. Okay? It goes to forensic teams. And they determine the scope. Okay? The scope. Did the attacker alter the vote totals, or did they exfiltrate? Did they only take out data? You've got to produce what's called a remediation and restore plan. It has to follow all procedures and all the crap you hear about, air gapped and shit. You got to validate the integrity to thus return the systems into service. That becomes, right? That becomes the entire case that works both domestically and internationally. You got to have a chain of custody, right? And attribution, foreign actors. Let's just say, like, if the foreign actors were sitting in Gaza wearing Gaza sheets and soft cushiness, and you have to prove it. You've got to prove it. So that's where the forensic analysis occurs, this is all in real time, in order for you to do restoration. Remember, in order to stop vote changing assumes they are vote changing. You stopped it, you corrected it. Okay? Here's the next step in the process. What is required in this, and this is specifically when it comes to elections, is what's called communications and transparency. Whether you believe it or not, or recognize it or not, there are things called incident communication playbooks. This is where you actually are required to tell the public what is known, to tell the public what steps are being taken. That way you avoid speculative claims and misinformation. And it all comes down to public confidence. And it depends on factual, staged messaging. Factual, staged messaging. Now, this is the entire legal process. Okay? Now, we're going to measure this. We're going to measure this, okay, against 30 guys with white eyes saved the entire election. Well, here's the process they actually have to go through. Here's what are called the proof files. This is what has to be had by law, in court, and in order for the very white hats doing their work not to go to prison for what they just did. This is what's required by law, by the Darbert standard, etc. So I'm going to kind of take you through these. You're going to have to show the net flow, the proxy logs. What you're looking for, and you're going to show is these repeatable, sustained, large uploads from election servers going to unexpected foreign ASNs, especially right after the polls close. Remember, that's the damning evidence, right? That's the damning evidence. Now, this is created by what's called net flow summaries. But if you don't have the net flow summaries with the PCAP to show volume and timing, you really don't have proof. So this is what's required, okay? The next thing in that, the DNS telemetry, basically says how many long, it's called high entropy DNS queries to a single domain happen. High entropy, think of it as a password. Your password, let's say, is 5 digits, 5 alphas and a numeric. High entropy only means it's 10,000 characters long. That's all that means. Super encrypted, hidden, encrypted, whatever. That's all that high atrophy means, okay? It basically means it's kind of hammering down on it. So what you must show is you've got to show all of this entry of high entropy DNS, and I said atrophy, but it's entropy, DNS queries to a single domain. It's basically called DNS tunneling. And this is where white hats produce example DNS query strings and entropy analysis to show that, hey, something's being leaked out of here, okay? The next part of proof files that's required is you got to have the cloud audit logs. It's got to show that it created new containers. Ironically, they're called blob containers, but it's creating new containers. Okay, hey, this is it. And this is not about the jury. Don't worry, because I'm not doing the jury presentation. And yes, you lost the jury, but no, this is for you. I'm giving you the techno because there are going to be techno weenies on here that say this isn't correct. You're going to create, this is how you create data. This is what goes to court. You got to show when, where, what, how. It was offsite, all this other stuff, right? There you go. Who did it? When? And then you've got to show authentication had problems. Somebody's logging in from foreign IP addresses. It's concurrent with sessions that don't match normal operational patterns. And we got window log events to prove it. I'm going to go back. This is very, 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 very important. And the audit, it's one of the things that they didn't turn over by law. There are rules. Now, the reason they didn't turn it over is because combined with the paper, you got to have the paper and those things, there's even no way to challenge it. They're going to jail. That's so critical. Now, the last part you need to know. Ready? Here's what a white hat hacker cannot do. A white hat hacker cannot do. They can't change anything. They can't hack back. Wait a minute. 30 white hat hackers saw them changing Trump votes, saw it coming in, shut it all down, changing votes from Trump, and fixed it and made sure that Trump won. Uh-oh. See, a white hat can't do anything. They can only observe and document. But they saw it. They did it. They stopped it. They stopped it. If you stop something, if you stop your car, are you doing something? Yeah, you're stopping your car. If you stop being an idiot and chat, did you do something? Yeah, you stopped chatting. If you stopped picking your nose, what'd you stop? Having fun. That's right. You get it. In order to stop something, you literally stop something. The story is not, we had 30 people that saw the crap going on, and we're letting you know out loud, here's the crap. Let me get this right. Was the story, we had the best white hat hackers in the world on this, and we have detailed it all. We know everybody that's involved. We know every country that's involved. We now know every person involved. We know every machine involved. We know where they went in. We know what they did. We know exactly which votes they changed and when. Is that the story we keep hearing? No. See, what we actually hear is 30 people, we're not going to tell you who they are. They're anonymous. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you the whole story. But they saved the election. They saved the election. It was white hat. It was white hat. It was white hat. And now they tell you they got this brand new Venezuelan leaker. That Venezuelan leaker has been known about for 8 years. Oh, they forgot to tell you that. But now it's brand new news. It proves it. We have been told that 30 people saved America by stopping the steal of the election. Stopping is action. Steal means they saw votes being swapped. They basically made sure it didn't happen and changed it back right. Interesting, isn't it? Because this is not what a white hat does. A white hat will tell you, see if these words sound familiar. We're in the system, they left the door open, and we can see everything. You ever heard that comment before? We're in the system, we can actually see what's going on, we can observe everything, it's wide open. That's a white hat statement. And so here is what a white hat can do. This is what a white hat cannot do. Here's the 10 procedures. This is supposed to happen in the first 10 minutes. When something like this is detected, they're stealing the election. They're stopping the steal. They're stealing it. There is an exact protocol you must follow. Here's the protocol. Number one, a white hat then basically creates what is called a one-page IOC packet. It basically says, here's all this happening. Here's all the suspicious IP addresses, ASNs, the domains, the time windows, everything, sample logs. And what do? They take that information and now they send it directly to the host places where these are happening and tell the people on the opposite end, hey, this is happening to your system. Here it's where it's happening. Kind of looks like this. Please preserve dis, S, and Y, isolate hosts A and B, immediately block destinations D1 through 3 at perimeter, context CISA. Here's the information, and here is FBI because these are foreign actors. This is the protocol. And then the last thing they do in that, by notifying the systems. Now, we're talking about an election. We're talking about 3,000 counties, every state, 175,000 polling places. A white hat then does, we've observed this. Here is our offer. We will make full packet data captures. We will give you the entire DNS analysis available. Will you give us a secure channel to intake this in? And will you assign a point person to us? Now, what that does on the end of the server and stuff where it's happening, it basically makes sure they have rapid containment, because the whole idea is rapid containment. If somebody stopped the steal in 24 elections, there is a rapid containment function somewhere. Now, first off, simple question. Does all of this make sense to you? These are the procedures. Because you're doing this because you want to stop things. Am I right or am I wrong? You want to stop bad elections. So you understand, in all tech communities, this is a standard process. And if you're doing this stuff, you're doing it to stop illegal activity. Am I right or am I wrong? Now, obviously, you can see, just so you understand, you can see there is an incredible evidence trail. That's number one. In the evidence trail, you can see there is impeccable chain of custody. You can see that, right? Then you take the evidence trail combined with chain of custody, and then it's put through the forensic process to verify and confirm, but you have all of these touch points. Remember, we're talking about the 2024 election that 30 people made sure Donald Trump won. That's their claim. Made sure Donald Trump won. Let's analyze the statement again. Here's its biggest promoter outside of Mike Lindell team, Mike Lindell Associated, all of them supporting Mike Lindell. Here is the fact. 30 people saved America by stopping the steal of the 2024 election. And yes, I will tell you the whole story. Now, I only have two questions for you. Number one, where is the required evidence and transparency? Where is it? That is an absolute requirement. Where is the evidence? Because I just want you to understand, this would be so fast-tracked in the United States of America, under Homeland Security, under critical infrastructure, two things, under the direct authority of the United States of America, every voting machine, regardless, would be wiped off the face. If you have this data, if you have these, it doesn't even bring it into question. We've been compromised, we've been attacked. Do you understand that? Tell me if you understand that, yes or no. And nobody's seen any evidence. Nobody knows these names. We know the story. It got linked to a Venezuelan linker, just like the first PCAPs. When we were supposed to get the evidence, we got Tina Peters instead. And when it got to court, we were told, well, there never really was any PCAPs. So you understand it, right? Now, put in chat, what are the things that hurt us once we all knew the 2020 election went bad? You've been living this for several years with me. What hurt us? I infiltrated a call with Antifa, and he said, don't worry, we're going to take fucking care of Trump. Ended to be total bullshit, right? Right? We even had Smartmatic and all that stuff then, right? We even had all the PCAPs, every state. You're going to be able to see every vote that was changed. We have it all. And then you found out. Well, we never really did. So the one thing that got 2020s overlooked all the way to this time is it's the machines. Am I right or am I wrong? I'm going to show you something that will now blow your mind in context. Because, see, what happens right now is you now have factual evidence of how this works. You now know all of the components. You know all of the pieces. You know all of the people in the past that kept on making claims, right? You know it all. You kept on making claims. We're going to do forensic audit with paper, and certain teams came in and says, no, that's a waste of time, whatever. Okay, you ready? Okay. Lucy Gaguski, this was subterfuge to deflect from real steel, but you said you have the evidence. Yes. Hopefully you watched me for long enough. I don't recognize your name a lot, but okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you if, in fact, we now found out, let's just say, we now found out there was no Antifa call with the head of the election from a guy out of nowhere. I infiltrated, and here it is, and it has no proof. We now know that's crap. Can we agree? The next thing we had was it's the machines. They swapped the votes. We saw it in real time. It swapped the votes. We have the PCAPs. We have it all. Okay? We found out that was total BS, right? Now, I gave you the formula. Now I'm going to go back in time because, see, all this Smartmatic stuff, 30 people saved the steal, right? Stopping doing action, the steal provable action of the 2024 election. Am I right? They stopped it. Let me show you. This is what we're all experiencing right now. Let me show you how this was fed to you early on.
Back and forth. Each one of them was an individual attack. And now we're going to show you again. So if you didn't watch Absolute Proof, go ahead and show us what we have here. What do we have on the screen?
So right here, when you see green, that is a successful intrusion, meaning they flip votes.
Right.
When you see green, that is a successful intrusion where they flipped votes. We now had 30 people that stopped it.
Back and forth. Each one of them was an individual attack. And now we're going to show you again. So if you didn't watch Absolute Proof, Go ahead, show us what we have here. What do we have on the screen?
So right here, when you see green, that is a successful intrusion, meaning they flip votes.
Right.
Red is unsuccessful in terms of flipping votes, but it could be reconnaissance or, passive recon, just looking at the different machines to see what the totals are.
So the green, just say that again, the green attacks here, as we're watching, those were actually attacks that flipped votes.
Correct.
From Trump to Biden, correct?
From Trump to Biden.
And the red lines are all, they're like checking on it.
Yeah.
Okay, does everyone get that? They're checking to see what the tallies are, and then the green ones are actually, when it goes over, this computer says, hey, I'm going to flip some, because it's keeping it this certain percentage, correct?
So the red doesn't necessarily mean, it's unsuccessful in terms of flipping votes, but it serves a purpose because it identifies which votes to flip.
Right. So it comes back, gives an identifier, then it'll send a green one over that gets through, flip the votes. And it's keeping these, is in your expertise, is keeping this so that the person that's set to win the election by a certain percentage. That's all it's doing, is keeping that. Now, before we get any further, I had talked to you before we got on here. It happened in every state, correct?
Yeah.
And even Alaska and Hawaii, right?
As you can see there, that pretty much
look at this. Okay.
the entire United States.
Okay, entire United States. But what I had him do, I said, I want you to show us just like 19 attacks just on 5 states. Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Okay, and what did we find here?
So,
and by the way,
You probably noticed some common denominators. I hope you now realize this is where I come down on it. This news story is only recycled bullshit. Oh, by the way, it kind of has the same thing. We can't have the person in Tina who's the surfer because he's a protected informant, but he's the only one that did the proof. Oh, we can't have Dennis Montgomery because he's protected and he's there. And even back then, it was right in your face. It was right in your face. But people like graphs. People want to trust people. Now, I just walked through this procedure, which we found out Mike didn't have. Under court said, nope, don't have it. But it's being recycled. But what they're doing all they've done is flipped it. First time round, it was unknown people were doing this to foreign countries. This time round, it's 30 people stopped action, the steal action, but you don't know who they are. It is the same identical message repackaged. The same identical message, just repackaged. I just went through it. I'm going to force you to watch this one more time. I just took you through this process. What you found out was total horseshit. All they did was, I got 30 people that saved it.
Back and forth. Each one of them was an individual attack. And now we're going to show you again. So if you didn't watch Absolute Proof, go ahead and show us what we have here. What do we have on the screen?
So right here, when you see green, that is a successful intrusion, meaning they flip votes.
Right.
Red is unsuccessful in terms of flipping votes, but it could be reconnaissance or, passive recon, just looking at the different machines to see what the totals are.
So the green, just say that again, the green attacks here, as we're watching, those were actually attacks that flipped votes.
Correct.
From Trump to Biden, correct?
From Trump to Biden.
And the red lines are all, they're like checking on it.
Yeah.
Okay, does everyone get that? they're checking to see what the tallies are, and then the green ones are actually, when it goes over, this computer says, hey, I'm going to flip some, because it's keeping it this certain percentage, correct?
So the red doesn't necessarily mean, well, it's unsuccessful in terms of flipping votes, but it serves a purpose because it identifies which votes to flip.
Right. So it comes back, gives an identifier, then it'll send a green one over that gets through, flip the votes. And it's keeping these, in your expertise, is keeping this so that the person that's set to win the election by a certain percentage. That's all it's doing, is keeping that. Now, before we get any further, now, I had talked to you before we got on here. It happened in every state, correct?
Yeah.
And even Alaska and Hawaii, right?
As you can see there, that pretty much...
Yeah, look at this, okay?
The entire United States.
Okay, entire United States. But what I had him do, I said, I want you to show us just like 19 attacks just on 5 states. Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Okay, and what did we find here?
So...
Oh, and by the way...
I'll leave it to your discernment. This is only modulation of the exact con that happened with all the same people, all the same formula, people in secret, and no proof. And you now know, going all the way to court, the PCAPs didn't exist. They never had them. But people swear by them. Hell, forest animals like raccoons swore that saw a unicorn. This concerns me, folks, because this is being recycled. But you've got to notice the pattern of how they do this. They don't have true tech experts come on and give you proof files and say, challenge me on it. That's not how it's done. They convince somebody that so desperately wants to save America and knows something wrong. And believe me, folks, the machines are crooked. The system's wrong. The system can be observed. They watch it in real time. Why in the hell do you think we published the absolute facts of how it's done in our bestseller, Countdown to Chaos? We told you this years ago. You got to be able to know what to do. But that's not how they do it, because how they do it is not like that in real time. They do it after time. Yes, President Trump got in. I told you they let him in. They weren't willing to fight that fight again. So what they did is they took down ticket, which you saw. But people love charts and graphs and demos and whatever, and they just want to believe the person telling, which is why they will get somebody on TV. Emerald wants to know, why hasn't she been interviewed by all the networks with everything she knows about elections and how they're stolen? She interviewed every single election expert in the world to get her base. Every single election expert in the world she interviewed to be able to get her incredible base of how all of this is done. You never see me on Lindell Network with Mike Lindell or Emerald.
And you know this, Joanne, you're the subject matter expert in this country on everything from mail-in to everything that dealing with our elections. I mean, but mail-in ballots, ballot harvesting, etc.
But see, people like to buy into people instead of buy into facts. Use this for your own discernment. Get ready for your screenshots. I'm going to give you these, folks, so everybody gets this right. Screenshot. What this discussion was, 30 white hats saved the election. Really, I have questions. It stems from what you're being fed right now, that 30 people saved America by stopping the steal of the 2024 election. And yes, I will tell you the whole story. In elections and anything to deal with computing, you have software, server footprint, or footprint destination. You got to remember, paper is the only evidence. Everything to do with this is voluntary. Paper is the only thing that creates a felony. This is all voluntary. And it works just like your antivirus, right? But if you're a white hat, you start with detection. You've got to follow the protocol. You move to immediate escalation after you follow the protocol. Then what happens is you are required to preserve the evidence. From there, after preserving the evidence, it's now about control and containment. All of these happen in real time. And as you get into control and containment, you have to be able to work with the places it's happening to show them the forensic analysis they can recheck and they can restore it right. And this has a very, very strict communications and transparency protocol. All of these things are standard. There is nothing new here. What a white hat cannot do is stop or change anything. That's a crime. It makes the white hat the bad guys. Oh, wait, they stopped and got it back. You can't do that. A white hat only follows a protocol to get this fixed. Folks, all this is a recycling of crap. You can hate the messenger. You can even hate the message. But we're being fed this again. It worries me. It worries me. And the number one thing you should worry about is the fact they've moved Kamala up now to 75 million votes to make that Biden stuff look right. The only thing out there that has enforceable, provable evidence is what every one of you folks supported in the Arizona audit. And the bad guys are trying to make that go away. And what you did is you didn't even only just give your money for PCAPs and crap. You gave your money for pillows trying to save what you thought was good people while this suffers.
Courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.
Fight for free and fair elections. Invent and scan the ballots of kinematic artifact detection. You love to read and learn, travel and explore. You're a fearless, brave-heart patriot who's opened doors. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. You lead by God and always do what's right. In the battle for our nation, you lead the fight. We pray for your safety, the armor of God to protect you from all of us. Here's a thank you for all that you do. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. Jovan, you're a hero we stand behind. We're inspired by the fire inside your eyes. American proud, we know you'll fight till your dying day. And we'll always stand behind you through everything. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior.